And we're live. Hello everybody. For those that are coming in, I am going to quickly share this out, so excuse me just a moment while this quickly pauses. Okay, I'm back. Some of you may or may not know about this case already. I'm going to talk about it because this was obviously something that caused like a lot of outrage, and when I've been talking about other cases where it's been a cheerleader that has obviously done bad things. Hello for a few of those that are joining. So I'd quickly send this out. Hello everybody. Okay, so as always, as well as you coming in, just remember, those that are engaging, if you could, we are obviously, as well as me talking about this, we obviously won't always be talking about true crime. I am well, thank you, Gemstone. I hope you're well too. Anyone that's in the comment section engaging, please ensure you are following each other back, and very much appreciated. As well as me chatting, we're also building a wee community and we are supporting each other. So if you do have some new follows, if you could possibly like go onto their profile and watch a video, watch it to the end, we heart, we like and a comment as well, because it helps with engagement in general. So welcome all in. Today's live is going to be about the Brooke Skylar Richardson case. Now, some of you may or may not know about Brooke Skylar Richardson, but I'd like to talk about it, and I'd like to hear your opinions on this afterwards. I've got quite a strong opinion when it comes to this case, so unsurprisingly, but I'm going to start talking about this just now. So the Brooke Skylar Richardson case. On the 7th of May 2017, 18-year-old Brooke Skylar Richardson gave birth at home and buried her newborn daughter in the backyard of her parents' home in Carlisle, Ohio. It would not be until 2 months later that this would be reported to police after she described what had happened to a doctor. Now, who is Brooke Skylar Richardson? So Brooke was born on the 9th of March 1999 to parents Kim and Scott Richardson in Carlisle, Ohio. In high school, she was a varsity cheerleader. She developed anorexia nervosa and bulimia nervosa. At 12, she was diagnosed with body dysmorphia, and she suffers now from post-traumatic stress disorder and depression. Oh, and Bob's just chilling in the background. On the 26th of April 2017, Brooke, as a high school senior, found out she was in the 3rd trimester of her pregnancy at a gynecology appointment. Brooke told doctors that she was absolutely petrified that her parents were, well, her mum was going to kill her. I did obviously mention to start with that she did have bulimia and stuff. She said that her mum was going to be mad, as she had obviously nitpicked her weight, any weight gain in general, quite severely, and she was put on numerous diets, which may have obviously caused the bulimia, anorexia, as well as the body dysmorphia. Brooke successfully concealed her pregnancy from family and friends. And 2 days after her senior prom, Brooke gave birth to her daughter, who she named Annabelle, in her parents' bathroom. It was found out during investigations that Brooke had Googled how to get rid of a baby, and she then tried to cremate Annabelle before burying her in her parents' backyard. It wouldn't be until 2 months later, due to another gynecology visit, that she admitted to giving birth and burying Annabelle. And the doctor would then contact the police. The skeletal remains of an infant was exhumed from the backyard of Brooke's parents' home on the 14th of July 2017. The autopsy by forensic anthropologists, Dr. Elizabeth Murray, determined the baby had died of homicidal violence and the baby's bones were partially charred. Brooke Richardson was charged. Sorry, just jumping ahead. Obviously, she was arrested, and in regards to this, to Google how to get rid of a baby afterwards, and I'd just like to remind you as well that baby boxes, safe haven boxes, have been around in America for quite some time. There'd be no reason why she had to kill her child, even if she was absolutely petrified and did have some mental health illnesses as well. Brooke Richardson did agree with investigators' suggestions that she had tried to cremate the baby. And when visited by her parents, she reiterated her statements that she had attempted to cremate baby Annabelle. The State of Ohio versus Brooke Skylar Richardson trial began on the 3rd of September 2019. During this time before the trial, she was released on bail. Her parents, unsurprisingly, had money. Like a lot of this time does happen when there has been a cheerleader who has given birth and killed their infant. She was on release on a tag. She was under home arrest. She was obviously able to complete her schooling as well, which did incredibly much anger the community. And there was 2 Facebook groups that were actually set up for justice for baby Annabelle Richardson. And the one thing that I do disagree with is one of them did indeed pretty much stalk the Richardson's home, quoted saying that she didn't care how long she waited outside this place, she would constantly watch. And there was a Facebook post that was put up on Mother's Day saying happy Mother's Day to all good mummies out there that don't give birth, kill their child, burn, then bury the body. I do believe, because I've not been able to find it, that post was removed after a lengthy argument, it would seem. This was obviously done by the Facebook groups. Do believe there's still 2 active. Hi, Scallywag. I still believe there is 2 active Facebook groups in regards to this. But I can understand where the community's anger is. Thank you so much. Because at the end of the day, this was a baby that was born, was killed. It was also, just like that, it was very late at night that she had given birth. It was around midnight-ish time. And she had actually texted a friend of hers that she had had a very difficult night. That's around 5:30 that morning, that things were going to be a lot better. and she had also went to a gym like later on, where she was showing off her flat stomach, and so obviously she was incredibly skinny anyway. And the picture that is up there is of the very small picture that is up there is obviously of the picture of the baby. She pleaded not guilty, unsurprisingly, to charges in Warren County, Ohio of aggravated murder, involuntary manslaughter, gross abuse of a corpse, tampering with evidence, and child endangerment. Her defence team that argued that due to the pressures put on her for her mum, which did cause the bulimia, anorexia, and the body dysmorphia, that she was scared, she was afraid, she didn't know what to do. She was scared of what her mum was going to say. She felt that she was too young to be a mum as well. Well, you know, you can't do, if you do the deeds, you have to take consequences sometimes. This was in America. Her defence team had thank you so much. Her defence team had also argued that Brooke was subjected to an overzealous interrogation. A psychologist diagnosed her with dependent personality disorder and testified that this disorder may have led to a false confession. Now, the thing that thank you so much, Scallywag, it's very appreciative of you. The thing that I argue, obviously, in regards to this is the fact that she gave birth, she Googled how to get rid of a baby, it was homicidal violence, she tried to burn the baby, and she buried the baby as well and managed to conceal this and hide this for 2 months. Obviously, the gynecologist knew she was in her 3rd trimester and I'd asked her what happened to the baby. And then she then went on to describe as that's what happened. So that's not interrogation. That's not police interrogation either. Her parents were very highly supportive of her. Hired a very good lawyer. And it also, in this case, it actually shows what money gives. Because if this person was from like more of an underprivileged background, I do not believe for 1 second that what I'm about to tell you would have happened either. Brooke Skylar Richardson was acquitted of the charges, so found not guilty by a jury, of aggravated murder, child endangerment, and involuntary manslaughter. She was only found guilty of abuse of a corpse. That was it. Now, the baby was in such a deteriorated state because of the burning and stuff. There was no definitive proof in how the baby actually died, because she burned the remains. She got rid of evidence. Yet she was only found guilty of abuse of a corpse. She received a whole 3 years probation, which was ended early in 2020 by courts. Thank you so very much, Jem. She is awful, Scallywag, I agree. Now, when I was covering on my now lost account, where I was covering, I agree. She should have got life. Good evening, my angels. When I was obviously covering the, thank you, Alexei Treviso and Alexis Avila case, which I'd obviously talked about when I was speaking about a last one like this. I did briefly touch on it, Brooke Skylar Richardson. It just really annoys me. There was the fact that she got to walk free, she got to live her life, she went on to complete college, she studied part-time, well, she actually had a part-time job at a defence attorney's law firm, like where that, and everything about this screamed throwing money. And when you look at a case like this one specifically, it kind of shows why kids, 18-year-olds to say, we'll go for about 18 to 25-year-olds in America, do what they do with their kids and discard of them. Something else that money threw at was in 2022, Brooke won a bid to have her conviction sealed. Exactly, Scallywag. She should never have been allowed to have happened, especially because the baby never had a life. Exactly. In my opinion, this should have been murder. 100% should have been murder. The fact that there was proof that she had Googled this. Clearly, defense had obviously went down the mental health route because of the bulimia, anorexia, and the pressure she felt from her mother to have the perfect body, and the apparent fear. Like, yeah, it should be life for life. I mean, I remember when I got told about this, because I'd obviously had covered Alexis and Alexei, two girls in New Mexico. Obviously, as I'd said in the live that I did on Alexis, that baby thankfully miraculously survived. But obviously Alexei Treviso and Brooke Skylar Richardson, two in particular, when I read about this one, I was utterly appalled. How the jury could not find her guilty is beyond me, unless it is like what I said. She was, I mean, that's her prom picture when she was in her third trimester. Remember, 2 days after this picture, she gave birth. She concealed it very, very, very well. And it could, there's been never, I couldn't find, I think it's because obviously the conviction is sealed, so a lot of what's going on about this, like, you can't get the court records because the court records are sealed. Yeah, well, either because she had bulimia or anorexia, because and obviously she was going to the gym quite a lot as well. It could have been the position of where baby Annabelle was laying, because it has been very well known that some people find out they're pregnant, think that they're only in their early stages of pregnancy when they're actually in labour, and they didn't know they were pregnant in the first place because the baby's laying against the spine as opposed to laying more, stomach wise, the way the baby like, it's just one of those type things. Like, obviously it was a very concealed pregnancy to start with. She did have body dysmorphia, where she always felt that she was fat. Maybe she thought she would just put on a bit of weight. The gynecology appointment, she'd obviously found out she was pregnant, and then not long later she gave birth. Like, she could have asked for help at any point. Yes, she may have been afraid of her mum. Yes, her mum may have been. No, I totally agree. Like, there is, obviously this is why I'm opening this up to this one. I thought was quite a good one to open up to a little bit of discussion that was going on as well, because I want to hear what your thoughts were on this, because she's got to go on and live a life. She's had, basically, there's been, I'm trying to remember the word, my head's just went completely blank. Accountability. She's not held any accountability. She pled not guilty. Everything about this would scream to me of premeditation. I couldn't find, because a lot of the court records are sealed, I couldn't actually find when she had actually officially Googled how to get rid of her baby. It doesn't say if it was before she gave birth or after. Defence argued that she got up in the middle of the night to go for a pee, and then suddenly was given birth, and in fear killed the baby and got rid of the evidence. Roughly about 5.5 hours it took her to get rid of the evidence. There was an arson charge that was obviously retracted from the case of her. Initially, Dr. Elizabeth Murray had thought that perhaps the baby had been dug up, then partially cremated, and then reburied. But upon further reflection on her notes, she'd actually eventually retracted that and just stuck to the fact that Brooke had the baby in the bathroom, killed the baby, took to parents' garden, set fire to the baby to try and cremate it, then buried the baby. And I managed to keep all of that secret for 2 whole months before she went to gynecology. So the fact she lied, concealed, screams of premeditation to me. It was very well thought out. The fact that she would have had to have, well, she googled and done the cremation, or the attempt of a cremation. Everything screams premeditation to me. Yeah, 100%. Like, has mental health had a factor in this? Then, well, obviously I have to agree here. Then obviously, yes, you do have to take that into consideration as well, as much as it's infuriating, because it does seem to be the big excuse all the time. But for a 12-year-old to have body dysmorphia, that's quite significant and severe. I know she is married now. Went on to marry somebody called Max. There's not much information. Yes, I agree. She does deserve to have the book thrown at her. So when I had obviously discussed the Alexis Vila case, I'd obviously briefly touched on this when I done a video about the origins of Prom Night Dumpster Baby. I briefly spoke about Brooke, but I felt that this was a good one to have a proper open discussion about. And the fact is, how much did mental health cause an issue here? Was this a case of the fact that if you throw enough money at a case, you can get let away with everything? And what is your thoughts on this? I'm obviously seeing most of you are in agreement with what I'm saying as well, is the fact that she should have got a lot longer in jail than what she should have. Because if you mirror Brooke Skylar Richardson to Alexis Avila has got quite a long jail term sentence. She got but for what she did, and the baby's still alive, whereas Brooke's baby's dead. Brooke had concealed all of that. She got convicted of abuse of a corpse because she burnt the baby and buried her. But there was before that, and also it opens up that initial thing that I'd said before. And now, if you were to, she had a body issue, she should have been seen a psychiatrist for them issues. So there's been no excuse. I agree. I do 100% agree. And to treat, it might not have been put in trash, but to treat her child as trash and as garden waste. What garden waste? Ultimately, that's rubbish. It's trash. It's whatever you class it as. You know, there was where they found the baby as well, buried. She had even hid it with a plant pot. So she knew what she was doing. And for the psychologist to then say that it was dependent personality disorder is disgusting. Isn't that what normal people would do, or even the parents should have sent out? Yes, because obviously with her having diagnoses of anorexia, bulimia and body dysmorphia, you would have expected the parents to have been doing something. If they can throw money at her trial to get her to be able to walk around scot-free, then surely they would have had enough money to throw at doctors and help. Was it a case of too little too late? I don't think so. You can see where my opinion is going, but if you do look at that, obviously Alexis Avila probably didn't have come from a lot of money, and got to have the same house arrest thing as what Brooke had done. But if you throw enough money at a case, or if you come from money, you get away with it. You don't come from money, you go to jail. That's what America is telling me. That's what they think. And they also, if you, yeah, they had plenty of opportunities. And also, people will argue the Roe v. Wade argument here. But this was before Roe v. Wade returns, so there's no excuse there. So, and yes, it was in the 3rd trimester, but there's safe haven boxes for a reason. No, so it basically tells me that America treat the life of a fetus in higher regard than what they do as an actual baby. Because, look at the cases that are out there. Look at the discussions that are going on. Laken Snellen is another cheerleader in her 20s, early 20s, that she gave birth, claimed to have rolled over onto the baby and smothered the baby in her sleep, and then wrapped the baby in a towel and in a bag, and then her housemates found the baby. It wasn't a dorm room. People had assumed that, but she lived in an off-campus. She got bonded out. But yeah, like, I do agree. Like, everyone's got a right to choose. Like, I will say that I am very much in the, I believe that a woman is entitled to her own autonomy, and if something has happened, or if there's something wrong with the baby, or if it's in general the case of the fact that they know that they cannot bring a life into this world because of whatever reasons, and that could be their own struggles that is going on, if they feel that they aren't able to for whatever reason, then I do believe they have the right to choice, as long as it's not treated like birth control. It's the only, because obviously if you're using that, if you're using your choice to consistently terminate pregnancies, then that's when the problem is. But if there is obviously a specific reason as to why they can't, then I do believe that a woman has a right to have her own body autonomy and has a right to choose. But that's a personal opinion of me. And not everybody will agree with that opinion. Most people will immediately jump on the, it's this. But I'm looking at, yeah, she could have taken the baby to a safe haven. She could have taken the baby to the hospital, just explained the situation, and the baby would have been taken care of. Think of the people that are out there that can't have them, and it would have probably, she'd be alive, never back out, dangerous to kids everywhere. Yeah, especially if I know that I've won the prom night dumpster baby, Melissa Drexler went on to have 2 children. So she got to go on to have 2 children. So it is, like, some people will say, oh, well, you have the fact that example has been done of women that's done this, which is Alexis Avila. But what about Alexis Treviso, who years later is still walking about, getting to go to college, getting to do all of this, and she murdered her child. She murdered her child in the bathroom. And Laken Snellen, it was full gestation period. There's obviously a lot that is not coming out about that because it's still very much an open case. And it's not gone to trial yet. And we're going to have Bob annoying us a lot, I do believe, today, because he wants to be centre of attention. I thought he was about to knock over My phone for a second there with the way it just popped up, but he seems to be wanting to get all in the camera today. But I 100% agree. The fact that she got us to walk around scot-free, like, he is cute. But the fact that she gets to walk around free, no accountability, that in her eyes she's not guilty. What I would like to say would get this account removed as well. I sort of be careful. But this one has definitely been a case of enough money thrown at the situation and the situation has gone away. And that I seriously disagree with. To think that they can go walk around free, go to college, work in the law firm that defended them part-time while going through college, got on to get married. Who knows if she has children? It's not, nothing like that has come out. Yes, people will argue that she was quite young when she did it, but at the same time, she was 18-year-old. She was old enough to do the deeds. She was old enough to decide what she was going to do, and her decision of what she was going to do was homicidal violence. And then burning and burying and concealing. And to think if she never had that gynecology appointment that told her that she was in her third trimester, and she never had to go for yet another gynecology appointment soon after, she probably would have never have came clean and would have walked away all this time without even people like ourselves sitting discussing this at this precise moment, because it has to get talked about. The outrage that I do know that was with the family, well, not the family, the community, sorry, against the family, and the fact that they just felt exactly the same as what I did. You throw enough money at something, you can get away with giving birth, killing, burning, and then burying a baby. That is what that screams to me. As that's what America has decided that was the best thing to do. And of course they used the mental health. Of course they used her bulimia and anorexia struggles. Of course they suddenly diagnosed her with dependent personality disorder. But when I went through what her what she is suffering from, it comes up as PTSD and depression. That's not all the rest of the diagnoses that she had. Was she suddenly cured? Because I'm sure you can't get suddenly cured from dependent personality disorder. It can be controlled and managed, but you still suffer from it. It doesn't just magically go away. And it certainly does not excuse what she did at all. Not in the slightest. But it's a dangerous precedent in females in America, of them going, well, if Brooke got away with it, then I can as well. But that's what that screams to me, and that's dangerous, it's worrying, it's absolutely fucking horrible. And it's really annoying as well. These cases consistently annoy me, and they will always will. And I believe that this baby never got any justice. Baby Annabelle got no justice at all. Poor baby Annabelle was treated the way she was, like moments after birth, and was murdered by the person that gave birth to her. Her body was then taken out to what would have been her grandparents' backyard. An attempt of a cremation had happened. She was then buried, treated like garbage waste. That's what Brooke did to baby Annabelle. And she spent very, very, very little time in jail and managed to get her conviction sealed. It's the court records. When they say conviction sealed, it's the court records of that that's been pretty much sealed. There is some articles that are on this. But it's very little. I do believe a lot of it got wiped off of Google afterwards as well. There's a couple of transcripts here and there from doctors discussing what she had said when she was in there gynecology, but obviously there's only so much that can get said in regards to that, because if so the Hippocratic Oath only protects to a certain degree, but if somebody admits to homicide in any way, it is the legal duty of a doctor, psychiatrist, psychologist, a counsellor, a teacher, anybody that has some sort of protective oath over them to not say anything. If you have committed homicide in any way, shape or form, telling a doctor, psychologist or whatever doesn't immediately protect you from it ever getting spoken about. No. That has to legally you have to legally alert the authorities in regards to this. And I don't know, like, if from what I've heard as well, like her parents are in a different location. They no longer live in the location that the baby was born, killed and buried in. They have money. They've thrown money at absolutely everything. And they including throwing money to get her off the hook, to get her away with it. She got away with murder. She got found not guilty of murder. Poor, defenceless, moments after birth, baby violently murdered. And because of the burning of the baby, the exact cause of death was unknown. Yeah, it is disgusting. But knowing your kid took away your grandwayne in that way, how can you support it? To be fair, like, so Rajos, it's like most things when you think about it. If you look at a lot of cases, the parents always seem to, for some reason, stand by them, no matter what. Like, no matter what. I look at, if you look at if I did that, my family wouldn't speak to me again. I would like to think that my family wouldn't speak to me again either if it was in contact with them. I would like to think a lot of people would, because I know if a friend of mine did something like that, I certainly wouldn't. They would be completely cut off. They would be like that. I would delete absolutely everything from my social media about them as well. I would act like I never knew who they were, completely. And that's me talking about a friend doing that. That's not even talking about a family member doing that. A family member doing that, I would probably treat them exactly the same. They would be cut off, completely cut off. It would be completely no contact. Like, I do have a older sibling who did do something really bad, and I believe the victims that they did something really bad, they're still part of the family, but I'm not, because I refuse to let them to be part of a family that seems to think that that's okay. It wasn't murder, it was something not very nice, but because of the victims, I'm not going to say exactly what it is that that my older sibling had actually done and what he was put in jail for. But the fact that my family quite happily stand by that and treat them like a golden child, like, confuses the absolutely bejesus out of me, because they went to jail for a reason, and, you know, things don't lie. There's a specific amount of things that do not lie. I discussed this with Brian Koberger. DNA does not lie. And oh no, you're absolutely fine. But no, like, but then I just don't. I wouldn't even think about helping somebody in that regard either. Do you imagine, like I'm trying to put myself in the case of thank you so very much. If I was a parent, I'm not, but if I was a parent, if I had a child that decided to do something like what she did, if I would back that, and I really wouldn't, because I wouldn't be able to see past what they did. in my eyes, what they did is unthinkable, and they should never have bonded them out, and they should never have got paid for a defence team. They should have been made to get a public defender. And it should have been up to the public defender, not some hotshot defence attorney team who was able to get her off with murder. It's still murder. And that's what, like, hello, and by the way, yeah, that's Chris in the background, by the way, if you're wondering who was, like, clicking away. Ever so often you can see him moving. I think I might have missed her. Ah, here we go. Agree, my dad had kids for us, all medicine. That's fine. My dad's kids for me too. Like, I don't know, like, but it seems to be the same every single time. They claim that they're so afraid of their parents that they can't tell their parents about a pregnancy or removing the child from the world by murder, yet are quite happy to get all the support and love and attention. And clearly their parents are not these big scary people is what they try and make them out to be. She was apparently too afraid to tell her mum, yet her mum has given her nothing but support and has thrown money at it. Yeah, you should be able to trust your parents. I mean, not everybody can. And I totally agree with that. But, you know, when it comes to this, clearly, Brooke was very much loved. Her parents wouldn't have thrown all the money at the case if she wasn't loved in the first place, or allowed the defence to paint her mum out to be a monster but continue to support her. Because there would have been a certain amount of, well, we're going to be saying this, so, you know, parents kind of need to be on board right now, so is it okay if we say this? You know, because we need to do anything to get your kid off of murder. Because that's ultimately what it's been. And that's ultimately what would have happened as well. There's that's lovely that your dad still supports you. I mean, I'm part of the Dead Dad Club. But I'm no contact with my mother. Let's just say she's not the nicest person in the world to me. But thankfully, I've got such an amazing close-knit support group of friends, which, but if they did anything like that, because there's no accident there. But never would he speak to if I did that to a kid. Yeah, it's not an accident. You can't say it's an accident. If you cover up a murder, it's not an accident. Look at to the end of last year when there was a conviction of there was a no body murder case with Brian Walsh and his wife Anna Walsh, who had went missing. And he pled not guilty for concealing or disposing, but was found guilty of murder and the rest, and the dismemberment and stuff. So, like, oh, much love to your brother for buying your house. That's so sweet. It's never easy losing a parent, like at all, like. Because they're the reason why you live. And how somebody could take out, because obviously you've seen some of my videos that I've done, and it tends to be a parent that's actually taken out their child. I mean, Brooke took out her child. Like, it annoys me, but you know the age-old threat that some narcissistic mothers say on the fact that if I can bring you into the world, I can take you out of the world, which is not a nice thing to be obviously hear, but that's ultimately what Brooke done to her baby. She brought her in to take her out. Yeah, I couldn't even imagine doing that to a baby. You see, like, when my nephews were first born, I was absolutely petrified to even hold them because I thought they would break. And when I first held my eldest nephew, I was shaking so much that I had to get somebody to take him off me because I was scared that I was going to drop him, or that even me shaking was going to cause all these issues and stuff, because I was absolutely petrified of that. So I think of a little innocent baby and enduring in the only live breathing moments of their life, enduring such violent homicide that is died. It's unthinkable, incredibly unthinkable. So and again, another horrible subject to talk about, but I believe that these kind of things do need to be shared because people need to understand there is outrage out there for that. There is anger out there for that. And we will talk about these cases because we are angered by them. As a baby, there is numerous different things that can be done. Numerous different things that can be done, especially in America, where there is safe haven boxes in all 50 states. And some have multiple. In New Mexico, there's 33. Yes, make people think before acting. As long as we don't get pitiful sentences like this one and put in really good sentences like Alexis Vila. And I'm hoping that when this does go to trial, which I'm hoping that we hear something soon about when this case is going to finally go to trial, that Alexei Treviso, I hope that she is properly held accountable for what she did of the homicide of her baby boy, and that she gets life, or maybe that life on that, yeah, I hope to just get life, but maybe she can get parole because of her age. As much I hate that, but maybe she can get parole. But perhaps in order to get parole, she has to admit to what she's done. You know, like show some sort of actual real remorse, not putting the finger of blame on everybody else, like the hospital. But that I'm just thinking, if you go down the age route, that, you know, some people can get rehabilitated. But the fact that she's held no accountability or no sort of any form of remorse, to me, says that it should be life, without the possibility of parole. Because of her age at the time, and American laws state that if you're under the age of 25 and you commit a homicide, it doesn't always have to be, depending on the severity of the homicide, of course. And, well, in America, clearly, once a baby's born, they don't really think of it any higher. Yes, I 100% agree. They often let them out with lenient sentences and they come back to reoffend. I 100% agree with that. Because it is very well known that it does actually genuinely happen, which is horrific in itself. I was a second degree murder. Well, Alexei Treviso, she's on a first degree murder charge. And there has to be something to do with the corpse as well, but I don't think that charge has ever been done. The charge that she's up against is first degree murder. It has to go to trial. It's been much too long. Much too long. It's coming up for 3 years before now. I think on the anniversary of that, I will actually do a full live on that one if I've not already missed it. I know that this is the anniversary of Alexis Avila's one. No, it has to go to trial now. It's been too long. It's coming up for 3 years and still nothing. Which is infuriating. Very much so. And she's just walking about like she's done nothing wrong. There's no conditions for her until it goes to trial. She was bailed out by her parents, who was the grandbaby of baby Alex, and she has got to go to college, got to go off and go to college. Yes, that baby Alex does definitely 100% need justice, and it's been too long, too long. Because people have said, well, is this ever going to go to trial? Was that it? Are we just not going to get anything? But it has to go to trial. Has to go to trial. It's just a case of when. Which is why I've not really spoken about it properly for a little bit, because it's another one that infuriates me, but I need a conclusion. I need to see justice for that baby. Or I need to find out what the courts are actually going to do, because they need to do something. And I'm going to take this down because I think I'm just going to chill a bit, because it's it needs to be shown in court that these things get you life behind bars. Agreed. Bad to say, but good to see them smiling, thinking almost got free, then bang bang, and bang, bye bye, locked up. Lol. Yeah, well, that happened with Alexis Avila. She got to go after when it went to appeal, and they were wondering if it was going to be a whole new trial it was going to be. She got to go on house arrest and stuff. And when you think about that, I mean, on house arrest they get to go outside, right? She was just ordered not to contact her infant that she discarded like trash. So when it does come to things like this, like it is like, haha, no luck, look, you go to jail. That is totally true. And it does wipe their smile off their faces. But it has to be longer than just probation. It has to be longer than that. And the fact that she's got her court record sealed, which shows, again, money talks every single time. Looks like in regards to the Treviso case, her parents have definitely got money. I do not believe she got a scholarship. Because if she had a scholarship to get into college, then surely that would have been legally removed because of what she was arrested and charged with and waiting to go to trial with as well. But we need them to show. We need examples to be set. We can't constantly see ones where they get menial sentences and then that's it, done. That'll get a movement from guilty. Yeah, and if the jury doesn't find them guilty, then the jury have let down Alex. Because I imagine it'll be the same court that Alexis Avila was up in. I believe it'll be the same court. It won't be a different court. I don't believe, because both of them are pretty much Albuquerque, New Mexico. Just Treviso comes from and use of a better word, better background, I suppose. And the other, which, if it same court, different judge, yeah, like just what you said, just what we obviously discussing that, and obviously it will show if money does talk in regards to Treviso as well. Because when I'd done a live on both of them when this was obviously back a couple of years ago when Alexis Treviso had not long since come out in regards to what had obviously happened to the baby, and obviously the footage that we were getting was still very new, and we knew that there were a villa that was due to go to court soon afterwards, because they were only about a year apart. Yes, I agree. It's a good job this court doesn't take brides. However, only thing in the UK, which is kind of annoying, is the fact that if you're a Mason or a family of a Mason, you get lighter sentences with that, which bugs me. And yeah, unfortunately, I come up from a Mason family, and I disagree with that, with people, with the males in the family. Yeah. Yep. They say it's not as much anymore, but I don't believe that, because it tends to be what I found, if there's even a snifter, because obviously it's still allegedly a secret society. Yeah, so secret that I know their handshake. And I know the way they fold their letters as well, that's how secret they are. I know my dad never taught me, even though he was a Mason. But yeah, the Masons are a bit of a weird one. Like, I probably would get in trouble if a Mason was suddenly like overhearing this conversation about the fact that I know their proper secret handshake, not the fake one that they actually tell us, or the letter folding. I wouldn't share it, because I would probably get in trouble. I'd probably get the police at my door, and probably get done for something, even though I've done nothing wrong, and I don't want to lose my job because I've decided to share about. It's a letter envelope folder. It's just a weird way that they do it. It's very close to a normal letter envelope folding, but a little bit different. I always remember overhearing a story between my dad and his father-in-law and my granddad, and they were laughing and joking, not thinking that I was in but I'll always remember my dad and my granddad laughing and joking about the fact that my granddad, who was a Grand Lodge Master, had tested my dad to see if he really was a Mason by talking about the letter and envelope folding, and the fact my dad passed like straight away. And my dad, I logged into conversations a lot when I was a kid. I was nosy, and then it was a wee while after that I found my dad's father, so my granddad on my dad's side. I found his Mason stuff that obviously my dad got after his dad had passed, and my dad being part of the Masons, and then found out that my dad was in the same lodge as what my granddad was, and it was all a bit weird, and found what lodge that they were in because I was helping clean the bar up the stairs, and it just so happened that they'd asked if we could go and pick up the rubbish and the thing, and that's when I first saw the proper handshake. And then found out that I'd moved things around that I shouldn't have touched, and I was looking at things I shouldn't have known about, and we got like the owner, who was a Mason, who had asked my friends who had asked me for help to clean this. Obviously, I'm curious in nature, but I found things that I wasn't meant to find, and read things that I wasn't meant to read, and found out about a few weird things, and just thought it was really weird. They got these weird ritual things, but it's not like the Knights of King, was it the Knights of King Templar, or Knights, the one that you mentioned? Wait, no, I'll find it. Oh, no, I don't know what it is. The Knights Templar. The Knights Templar, right. But it's not as for ritualistic. The Knights Templar, thank you. It's not as ritualistic as them, but they still have their little rituals, and they wear their
Maltese cross.
Yeah, I wouldn't obviously, but I do know for well, obviously we got in trouble, and then my granddad, who was the lodge master, I didn't know this at the time. They'd obviously found out that I was who my granddad was, and then they found and they'd obviously had to speak to him because I had seen things that I shouldn't have seen. And my granddad sat me down and was just like, "How much do you know?" So I told him. And he went, you're not supposed to know that. Yes, and there's another secret cult thing, and that has got to do with world leaders, and I mean they say it's a conspiracy theory, but all stories come from somewhere, right? Or an urban legend or a myth. But there's also this other one where that is very cult like, where they have ritualistic sacrifices, and it's human sacrifices, and it never started as that initially was meant to be lambs, and that was it was meant to be a sacrificial lamb that actually turned into a sacrificial person, and it's all the rich and powerful, like all the ex-presidents and your male prime ministers, because I don't think there's the same with all of them. I don't think there's any females that are part of it, but it is really quite, once you start digging and once you start looking into things, honestly, some of the things that you find out about the different stuff is insane. It is not utterly nutty and insane, because you think, how is that even possible? And how did they get away with so much stuff? But then, and how come that suddenly something bad happens and it's suddenly swept under the carpet, because we're then led to focus on something completely different, specifically with your world leaders and stuff, that something bad seems to be coming out of the woodwork, and then, but we'll just focus on this instead. We'll not talk about any of that. That just got to get brushed away. Nobody could tell me that that's not got to do with the cult. But for America, it's mainly money and their recults, and here it is Masons have got a big thing. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Even if there was really some the Holy Grail, some makes me wonder if it was a squeeze in plain sight. There were some treasures hidden on Oak Island. Oh, that's cool. See, this is good. This is fun things to talk about, because it's like we know to a degree about these things, right? And obviously, I can't say some things I'm not allowed to talk about, which is just nonsense. But obviously, like you said, we've all watched too many movies. We've all watched things that bad things happen to people that have seen things that weren't supposed to see, and are suddenly taken away and never heard about again. So you heard it here. If I suddenly go missing, it was the Masons. Anyway, jokes away. Jokes aside, but no, it's in America, money and some of the wee, some of the wee culty things, and here it's definitely the Masons are a big thing, because it's just one of those things. Unfortunately, it is one of those things, but I've heard about like other cases where they think that with heavy, because Masons are in America as well, they're called Freemasons in America. I think they're run very slightly different to the Masons in Britain, or the UK in general. I do think they're very, very slightly different, but I think they follow the same traditions and some of their, where their belief standpoint is. Yeah, so but it's true, it's either money or it's a cult or a Mason or a secret handshake thing. It's been an hour already. That was a quick hour. One of the puzzle pieces falling and having to pop into place. Right, I'm trying to think of what to talk about tomorrow. Maybe I will actually do it on Alexia TV, so we can all go on to continue on with the discussion about that, unless I find, if it's the anniversary of that, or I'll wait till the anniversary of it. I'll just need to double check the dates, because I've got all the paperwork somewhere from back when I did the live before on her. And I got a lot of additional information and emails that were sent around, and all sorts of weird and wonderful things about that case, because it's one of those, it's a mind bender of a case, but the fact that when you actually look into the background of certain specific people, specifically the principal of her high school and stuff. They're all quite interesting ones to go through. So it might be a wee bit, it might mean it's a tiny wee bit longer, but hopefully not too much longer. But seeing as it's been an hour, and I promised Chris that I wouldn't be on too long tonight, I'm going to drop down from here. So thank you all for coming in. Thank you for all the taps. It's very much appreciated. Thank you for all the gifts. Thank you for engaging with each other as well. And just remember, if you haven't already followed those that are engaging in the comments, please give them a little follow, and they will obviously follow you back. We're building the community and supporting each other, even if you watch AD tonight, ask her for a pickle. But we're building a community and supporting each other, as well as me talking about things like this. So thank you for all being here. I will see you all on the mean streets of TikTok, and you all take care of yourselves. Good night.